This is part 2 of the autobiography of Lila Steele Judd. Ray's health failed him again in 1950, and from that time on he was unable to do much work. While I worked at a grocery store, we soon found that the proceeds from that job were not enough to keep the family going, so I hustled around and found employment at the Utah State Training School. This paid a much better wage, and we were able, with the help of the Lord, to get along. I have always paid my tithing and have taught my children to do likewise. Some of them continue the practice, and some of them don't. Since starting to work at the training school, I have undergone numerous operations. For a while it looked as if there would be no end, but to every cloud there is a silver lining. Today I am in good health and working every day. Ray's heart finally gave way, and on the 23rd of December, 1957, he died suddenly while working on a remodeling job at the Pleasant Grove 3rd Ward Church House. We were privileged to have the entire family present at his funeral, which would have been his request, I am sure, if he had made one. Lila was an attendant at the training school from 1950 to 1959, then became a supervisor, a position she held from 1959 to 1969. She also served as president, vice president, and treasurer of Local 810 AFOSC and ME Union. After retiring in 1969, she continued working part-time as officer of the day until a car accident in 1974 left her unable to work any longer. Lila worked as a receptionist in the Salt Lake Temple and then as an ordnance worker in the Provo Temple until, on the way to work in the temple, she met with an accident. A fellow passenger was killed and she was in the hospital for 3 months, unable to walk. A priesthood blessing in the hospital promised a full recovery. However, it was a long and grueling one. After that, she could no longer work in the temple. I enjoyed my work at the temple very much, except that there wasn't enough for me to do as a receptionist. I caused so much disturbance as a receptionist that by the 11th of February 1970, I was set apart as an ordnance worker by Selvie J. Boyer, and I worked in that capacity until I was released 17th of December 1971. I was set apart for the Provo Temple on the 4th of November 1971. I worked in the Provo Temple for 2½ years. Lila concluded her personal history with these words. At this writing, which was in August of 1977, I am able to take care of myself and do a few things for someone else. Time healeth all things. I am so grateful that I can walk. I drive my car and get around town pretty lively. I haven't been able to go back to the temple. I'm not able to stand for any length of time, and I can't go through the sessions. I go to church and Relief Society. I teach the mother's education class. I intend to go to the church library tomorrow, and with this history finished, I will have my genealogy class complete. Believe me, I intend to stick with this class until I have my diploma. I have taken this 3 times, and I want proof, so I won't have to take it again. You might not have gotten this last part of my history, except this is one of the requirements for graduation. Now, if I make it another 10 years, I'll probably be asked to finish it again, and since it is so hard for me to say no, I'll do it. Lila passed away Monday, August 22, 1988, at age 83 in Pleasant Grove, Utah. Here are some thoughts from her youngest daughter, Charlotte Judd Tracy, your grandma. Mother loved to ride a good horse. She rode like a fish swims. It looked like a very easy, effortless thing to do when she did it. My fondest memory of horseback was the little trip she, Eileen, and I took to the Grand Canyon. We stayed in a small cabin near the North Rim and rented horses for a day. In talking to the man renting the horses, we found out he had known Dad when he worked at the canyon. He volunteered to go with us and show us more of the country. It was fun. We got to see another whole side of Mom then. She outrode us both. Mama had a very strong faith and a truly personal relationship with God. She understood the power of prayer and used it. I can't remember her ever missing night prayers or the blessing on the food. Mom was honest to a fault, and she required nothing less of everyone else, especially her children. I think coming home drunk would have caused less repercussion than the telling of lie, stealing, or cheating. I wouldn't have dared to test that theory, though. Her honesty and fair play won her the respect of all she came in contact with. Not everyone liked her, but they did respect her. Mother always cheered for the underdog. She took special interest in the less fortunate. I remember her helping a young man learn his lines for a ward play that she directed. He couldn't read well, but he had one of the leading parts. Without embarrassing him, she had him come to the house after school, and she worked with him until they were both satisfied with his performance. The play was a success, and the young man's self-esteem was much improved. She also had a friend for life. He would have done anything she asked after that. Mom's keen sense of humor carried her through a lot. She always managed to find the humor in every situation. That is how she coped with working with the mentally challenged kids, as she called them, for 20 years. That was at the training school. The tales she would bring home from work were always fun to listen to. Mama had the ability to love and respect these kids. She always treated them fairly, and they knew it, and tried eventually to be good for Judd. Mother loved to entertain. Every year they would have a Halloween party at the training school for the kids. Mom always dressed up. Her goal was to fool the residents. Her costumes were wonderful works of art. If I hadn't known it was her in there, she could have fooled me. Her witch costume was the best, with putty nose, full makeup, sunken eyes, and no teeth. Her dentures were in her pocket. Mom's ability to act and pretend must have served her well through childhood and even after. On more than one occasion she advised me, if the situation is less than perfect, just act like or pretend that it's perfect. Then you'll feel better and things will work out. So this picture of her on the left is her in her jester costume, and the picture on the right is from her 80th birthday when she performed her reading called Hats. I hope you've enjoyed getting to know your great-grandma, Lila Steele Judd. Go ahead and ask your moms what memories they have of her.